Hello folks, I'm Mills Grant with Carolina Fresh Farms, the horticulturist, and today we're going to talk about something super important for your home lawn, which is fertilization and a few tips on how to make sure you're doing it right. So before we get into actually fertilizing your lawn, I thought it'd be great if we talk a few minutes about fertilizers. There are a lot of fertilizers out there and I know it becomes extremely confusing. What do I buy? Why does this one cost more than that one? And I will say this, at Carolina Fresh Farms, we pride ourselves in selling professional fertilizers. So there's a couple of things you need to know. And first and foremost, let's come over here and take a look at a label. This is actually a turf fertilizer. It's one of our really neat products in a sense, and we'll have some more discussions at some time, a later video, about N, P, and K, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. It's in that order. N being 20% nitrogen, 0% phosphorus, 25% potassium here, okay? So all of these, what we call the microelements, are very important in the health of your lawn. But at certain times of the year, especially later summer, warm season grasses, we're really interested in a little bit of nitrogen, but a lot of potassium to kind of help us harden off the plant because that helps with water movement and cell structure. So more potassium means we can make a lawn or help your lawn overcome drought much better. It also helps you in winter hardiness of the lawn. So a late season application of this last number, potassium, NPK, K being potassium. If we increase potassium available to the plant as we go into winter dormancy, now we have a plant that's probably going to survive the cold winter a little bit better because of water movement. Because let's remember, a lot of our winter desiccation, you heard that word, desiccation, that is lack of water in the cell structure in the winter. So a lot of our winter injury is actually coming from desiccation, lack of water in the cell, in the plant during the winter. I know it sounds odd because winter sometimes here in South Carolina, North Carolina is the wettest time of the year, but there's a lot of desiccation that happens, especially when we drop into the teens. It's normally low moisture because we don't get a lot of snow, unfortunately, right? It's been over 2 years. So we have dry weather when it's really cold. We get desiccation in the plant surface. So if we add a little bit of potassium late in the growing season of the plant, the hopes is that we have a plant that is better regulating water through the winter months, therefore making your yard a little bit more winter hardy. So just a little tip of information. One thing I want to say today, this product is very high in potassium. It's an Expo product. So isn't that pretty? That purple denotes from the manufacturer, it's potassium. And what's neat is that potassium is married with methylene urea, which is a slow release nitrogen. So the potassium actually releases slowly as the nitrogen does instead of dumping all at once. Because those of you in sandy soils from in the Midlands South through the coast, very sandy soils, we know that potassium doesn't hold well in sand. You spread it, you get 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, it washes through the sand. This product will hang around a little bit longer, giving that little bit of potassium the plant needs to be a little heavier. All right, so as we add fertilizer to the hopper of a spreader, one thing we want to do is make sure we only put enough fertilizer in there, what we estimate we'll need to fertilize an area. And as we add the fertilizer, we want to make sure it's nice and free of clumps. I know I'm using my hand and some of you may go, oh man, what are you doing sticking your hand in fertilizer? It'll be okay. I'm a grown adult. I promise you I won't lick my fingers, okay? But I would go in and wash my hands before I eat food or drink a drink. This is a straight fertilizer, so it has no chemicals as far as an insecticide or pesticide added. There's no herbicide in this. It is just all nutrient. Boy, isn't that pretty? So our gate valve is closed. I estimate, let's see, a 50-pound bag of fertilizer, looking at it, I would estimate that there's roughly maybe 10 pounds, 11 pounds of fertilizer in the hopper. Well, why is this important? Because fertilizer has to go out at a certain rate. We don't want to just willy-nilly apply a product and not know how much product we're applying. So a lot of times our fertilizer rates will be given as X amount of pounds per 1,000 square feet. How do we know what we need? Label. Labels are fantastic. You can look up your fertilizer spreader, the manufacturer of your spreader, and it will tell you suggested spread settings. So what number are we going to put it on? A lot of people think that your Scott Speedy Green 3000 has numbers from 1 to 28, and if it's 4, that means 4 pounds of product per 1,000 square feet. No, it does not, okay? I'll dispel that myth right now. That number has nothing to do with how many, it does have something to do because it's how far that gate valve is opened, but it has nothing to do to equate to how much fertilizer is going out, because every fertilizer is different. And fertilizers, typically on a label, you can find the bulk density, and that bulk density is going to determine how big is the opening, the gate valve on the spreader, what is the bulk density of the product, what is the size of the product. That all goes into figuring out how much product is going out per 1,000 square feet. But that also comes down to how fast you walk, okay? So it's the human factor, I guess you could say. There's so many variables that go into this. So what I've always said, a lot of our products, and most fertilizer products, need to be applied anywhere from 4 pounds to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So a 50-pound bag of our 20-0-25, and we'll put this label back in. Always keep your label on your fertilizer, so if you don't use it all, you know what you got, right? We know all of our products go out at that rate. You should know by now how big your yard is. If you don't know, you can visit our website. You'll have a satellite image of your yard, and you can peg around your yard, your perimeter. It'll calculate the square footage of your lawn. So today, we're going to apply fertilizer on what I would estimate somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, 1,500 square feet. And if I want to put this product down at 5 pounds per 1,000, there's 1,500 square feet. I should use in the neighborhood of 7.5 pounds of product. So we don't want to open the gate valve until this fertilizer spreader is in movement, okay? So let's go fertilize. So when we're going to fertilize, we're always going to look for the longest straight run to start. We want to avoid as much as possible of getting a product on concrete, certainly around the swimming pool. On your driveway, on your front walk. I think a lot of them are like the walks we have here. They're several years old. They may not be perfect, that's okay. This product doesn't contain much iron, so it shouldn't give a lot of staining. But what I would suggest is that immediately after applying the product, take a blower, take a broom, and sweep it off. Now, what I want to say is we're going to sweep it to the lawn, which is to my left. We're not going to sweep it to the right. Now, why would we not sweep it to the right? I know, some of you already know, but many of you don't. If I sweep it to the right along this curb, where does this curb end up? Oh, it goes all the way to the end of the road. Oh, it's kind of a rainy day too today. And then where does that go? Eventually it goes into a stormwater drain. A lot of the products that you've seen come and go off of the market over the years, especially things like fipronil, the active ingredient in Over and Out. You remember the old Over and Out product that worked so well? One of the reasons it was taken off of the market, fipronil is detrimental to aquaculture, to fish, okay? Where do storm drains lead to? They don't lead to the sewer system. Storm drains typically go into the local creeks, the local ponds, sedentary ponds. Maybe it's a local lake you have. People were applying product over the curb. Where do you take it and blow it when you're done? Blow it into the storm drain. No, don't do that. Do not put any product down the storm drain, such as fertilizer, chemicals, or anything of that nature, because that goes directly into our waterways. I don't think we want that. So that's why when we're over apply on a sidewalk, that's fine, but we immediately want to blow that product back into the lawn or into a shrub bed. Oh, probably shouldn't open that like there. Oh, it's spilling out. Oh no. Folks, you don't open the gate valve on the spreader until you're moving, okay? I just wasted product. I just have an issue now that maybe it goes into a storm drain. What a mess. So I'm going to position myself that I can begin the spreader, and then I open up my gate valve. I'm not off to the races. I'm not running really fast. I'm just walking a nice steady speed. I'm watching where the product's being expelled out the front, and then I turn the gate valve off. Then I make my turn. Obviously, I probably don't want to fertilize a shrub bed and some pokeweed that's growing in here. So I'm not going to turn the gate valve on until I get back to the lawn area. I'm watching off to my left to make certain that I have a nice uniform spread, and voila, I'm done. So we're going to move down here, position ourselves, and wow, turn the gate valve on once I enter the lawn. I'm spreading fertilizer at a nice casual walk. And then I close the gate valve off before I reach the end. I'm going to make my width move over, and I'm going to turn the gate valve back on. And there we go. Now it's off. Position myself further. And now it's done. So in less than 5 minutes, we have fertilized a 1,500 square foot front lawn. Not that hard to do. You just have to know the product, know your spreader, take a little bit of care. Y'all take care and have a great afternoon. All right, whew. I talked a lot.